So we're back here on 970 WFLA. We are wrapping up the show here in the last segment. We had Rick Bechtold from Renters Warehouse, for property manager of the Duncan Duo show. And we've got Bob Henriquez and Al Noto with Hillsborough County Property Appraiser's Office, and Mike Yates from Atlantic Bay Mortgage. And, we were talking, we were just talking, off air a little bit about some of the things going on in the market and some of the changes that happen and trends that we see that kind of affects what we do. And as Rick from Renters Warehouse was talking about, we're seeing, the hedge funds really start to put, some attention on Tampa because prices are affordable and they're maybe not looking as affordable in other parts of the country. And we're starting to see a lot of international investors in international countries that didn't always focus on Tampa. China, for example, we've seen a surge of Chinese buyers coming here. And
wherever you don't mention Russia.
What's that?
No Russia.
Okay, don't bring it in.
Don't bring it in.
Actually, I can't because they, they broke into our server here.
There you go.
We're recording this right now. They're hacking all of our stuff.
I'm happy, but I have a cold.
So, but nonetheless, it's been, it's been interesting to see, as our market as the values have grown, and I get people all the time asking me in the position I'm in with the amount of business we do, hey, what do you see? Do you see values dropping? And I think the market is very sustainable right now. I think it's in a good place. I think the Tampa, now real estate in general, it's so local. I think people forget that, but locally we've got a lot of really good things in our favor. With values rising and employment rising. That I certainly think we'll see some slowdown in the appreciation that we've seen because it's been going up so much and rates are going to go up. So you start to think about it getting a little bit unsustainable. But right now, I don't see any end in sight. There's no red flags of some of the stuff that happened a few years ago, especially on the lending front.
Right.
The lending front's just so much tighter today.
With the regulations, I think it will help slow that down, or help us from having another collapse like we did.
Yeah, and I'm sure, Bob, you guys probably, with the data that you look at, probably see, it's a pretty solid, market that I don't see a lot of risk for a huge drop-off. Now, real estate's always seasonal. At some point it's going to, but it just doesn't look like that's any time in the short-term near future.
Yeah, again, and we've seen values over the last 4 years, not going to 5 years, my tenure, have continued to rise each year. This year, the values on single-family homes may go up to a little bit less than we've seen.
That's what I think.
Somewhere in the range of 6.5%. We're kind of seeing somewhere where it's been 8, it's been 9, it may be 5 to 6 this year. We don't. It depends on the market sector. But then we're seeing on the flip side of that, commercial, is going up more. So, but no, it seems as though the fundamentals are still strong here, but again, who knows? It would take some kind of a major upheaval to affect us in the short run.
Is there anything else, Bob, that you think is important, this time of year for people, for people to know in terms of property taxes that they need to pay attention to?
Well, I just want to make sure we get the message out to folks. If you're looking at buying or selling, if there's any questions at all, and I know there's lots of online information out there and help that people have as they're sort of in the early stages. But then, when you start dealing with the real estate professionals like yourself, when you get closer to the finish line and you're about to close a deal or what have you, or you're dealing with Mike and you're about to, look at the fine print. If you need to, again, because it's important. If you don't want to be shocked if your budget allows for a certain number per month, and it's going to go, $400 or $500 a month more happens. It may be something, and it may be something that you can make an informed decision and say, okay, we know that in X number of months
it's going to go up.
It's going to go up,
right? So we're prepared.
And so we're prepared. So we're not going to, trade in our car and get a higher, car payment or something, so that you're able to prepare for it. I think that's what happens. A lot of these folks, it's not necessarily that they're in a situation where they're, they're losing their jobs and the things that we're seeing before, but they're not prepared. And I don't. Even if you're doing fairly well, even in my family, I'm blessed. We're both working, things are good. But could we afford another $600 or $800 a month that we didn't expect? No, that would put quite a crimp on us with 3 kids in school and what have you. So.
I would tell you, I think one other thing before we wrap up that I think is important on that same front is any customer that we have. Property taxes aren't always black and white. There's always some. there are unique properties. There are properties where you can only homestead so much land. There's all these different variables, and I would tell you, if you can have an inkling of a concern about taxes, call your office, because the people that we get those questions all the time. And I mean, we can answer some of the general stuff, but when we get questions about that, we want to refer them to the right place. And any of our customers have ever called your office have always, felt like they got, good information and that it was relevant and helpful. And I think that's, kind of the key message is do your due diligence. And if you aren't certain about, the tax bill or where things are, then call a property appraiser. And obviously, if you're not in Hillsborough County, then you're going to have to call the Pasco County or Pinellas or Sarasota or Manatee. Because if someone from Sarasota calls your office, you're just going to say, call the guy down there. So, yeah. Well, anyway, we appreciate you tuning into the show, and thanks Bob and Al and Mike for coming on. And we're appreciative of Rick Bechtold with Renter's Warehouse as well. And thanks for tuning into the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. Have a great rest of your Sunday, Tampa Bay.